Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Giovanni, and I help those with endometriosis and polycystic ovary syndrome reduce chronic pain, eliminate stress, and minimize irregular or heavy periods. Y'all, today we got Coach Robert Moore in the Good Vibe Studio. Y'all, I am so excited about this episode, man. I can't wait to hear his journey and the transformations he's been able to make. But before we dive into this episode, and if it's your first time, welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. But y'all, vibe with me, y'all. Welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast.
It's good message.
Y'all, welcome to today's episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. Y'all, I'm so excited to have Coach Robert Moore with us, the founder and CEO of You Transform Fit. Y'all, Robert is a dedicated plant-based health and fitness specialist who has transformed his life and the lives of countless other people through simple action steps towards better health, y'all. Simple. He's going to get all into the simplicity of that today. So from overcoming IBS to helping clients reverse chronic conditions and achieve remarkable weight loss, y'all, Coach Robert, his journey is a testament to the power of taking control of your health. And it's simple. All right. Today, he'll share his insights on why it's more simple than you can ever think of to make lasting changes to your health and how you can start today, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but today, y'all. So get ready for an inspiring and practical empowered conversation with Coach Robert Moore. Yo, welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast.
I appreciate you bringing me on. Thank you for creating such an amazing space where knowledge can be shared for people to use to improve their health.
Man, it's my absolute pleasure, Coach. It's my absolute pleasure. I've been watching you for a while on Instagram. You going live and just being real transparent with your journey and just showing people what you're doing to make your own healthy habits and lifestyle changes. I wanted to start off by first, give me one word that can pretty much summarize and describe your plant-based journey thus far when you made that shift to this plant-based lifestyle. Like what's the one word that can describe that journey?
One word that can describe my journey?
Your journey.
And it's got to be one word? Can it be a phrase?
Just one word.
It's got to be one word.
One word. You the
expansive.
Man who makes it simple. Ooh, expansive. Expansive. Why expansive, Coach?
And just to make sure that the folks heard me clearly, I didn't say expensive, expansive. It's been expansive because it has really expanded my idea of one, what food is, two, the amount of delicious foods that are out there, and also open me to new ways of thinking and beliefs, mindsets that has really led to different paths. On top of that, it led to me becoming a successful entrepreneur, and now I'm traveling the country speaking. So it's been expansive in every area of life.
So, Coach, let's talk about this idea of food. Because I know you said I want to make sure the audience heard that I didn't say expensive, because that is sometimes a block for people to embrace the lifestyle. But let's get to the root of it, because I honestly don't believe, and you might not either, believe that it's truly an expensive type of shift for them. It's really their relationship with food that causes them to be hesitant, and they're finding all these other reasons why they're unable to really make that shift, or that mindset shift to embrace the lifestyle. So let's talk about this relationship with food, with your own relationship with food, because you now have this expansive ideology when it comes to it and this different experience. How has your relationship with food changed? And what did you realize about your relationship with food before you began? Like thinking back and reflecting after you started the journey, what did it look like for you?
So before I went vegan, I was vegetarian for 15 years prior. but I was on a weight gain journey. So I was trying to maintain the weight that I had gained after I graduated high school. Because I graduated high school at 118 pounds, like skinny, skinny. I'm 5'9". So I got tired of being a skinny kid. So I spent the next 5, 10 years putting on 30 pounds of muscle. And so for me, food was just a means to an end
Mm.
because I was eating when I wasn't hungry. The foods that I was eating because I was doing a lot of um, the protein shakes, the weight gainer protein shakes. So I was always having bloating, gas, just my stomach was all over the place. That was part of the irritable bowel syndrome that I had. And so it shifted because now food is not a means to an end. It is, but it's a different end. Now I don't eat to eat, I eat for nourishment. And
So your
that's
purpose around food changed. Why?
absolutely.
Why? Why? What was your big why to say, I can go ahead and make this shift? And this is why my purpose for eating is different now. And my relationship with food is something that I embrace and excited about having.
Absolutely. So the first shift was me going from a standard American diet. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. So barbecue, pizza, think of like White Castles, all of that good stuff is what I ate growing up. But I also saw my mom suffering from diabetes, my dad suffered from diabetes and high blood pressure. So when I turned 18, I knew I had to do something different. That's when I went vegetarian and saw some health benefits. But in 2013, unfortunately, my mom passed of cancer. And that was a really big wake up call for me because the next year I had my very first son. And I knew I had to do something completely different to not end up in the shoes as my mom so that I could be there for my grandkids.
I love that story, and I thank you for sharing how your trauma or a tragic situation caused you to really shift and saw life in a different perspective. And I think sometimes when people tend to have a trauma or tragedy or this big life changing event occur, it's hard for them to get on a positive, productive, and healthy
Hmm.
wavelength or frequency because they're having a hard time processing that loss. And sometimes it's within the loss that we end up really gaining. And it sounded like you gain a better perspective, you gain a better value for life, and your why became bigger than just you living. It was the
Yeah,
health span to keep being here so you can see the things that you want to see in regards to the legacy that you're creating. So I kind of want to back up just a little bit. Vegetarian, age 18, nobody in your family is probably vegetarian, correct or incorrect? You're the first to make that shift.
correct.
What
Yeah.
told you it's in the food? Diabetes, high blood pressure, these are some of the chronic conditions in my family. How did you know it was in the food that you needed to change? And then what were some of those initial benefits that you started to see vegetarian?
For me, it was a full transformation because at that same time, I was coming into manhood and my identity
Mm.
as a man and as a melanated Black original man. And so I was getting rid of the foods that were attached to the colonizer's diet, is where it really started for me. And because I figured when I looked at history beyond slavery, our people didn't really suffer from these diseases.
Mm.
It wasn't until after we started to eat these subpar foods that we started to see the decline in health, the decline in years. And even though we still see a lot of our grandparents or great grandparents live to 99, unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So we have to really make that shift. And so that's what it was for me, making that shift in a lot of the colonization ways that I was getting rid of. And food was the biggest thing.
Break down that subpar food so people can get a
Oh,
better idea of what you're really talking about, coach.
okay, absolutely. I know sometimes I can speak high level. So when I say subpar food, the foods that the enslaved people were given were the scraps and leftovers from what came from the main kitchen most times. Or it was fruits and vegetables that were the less desirable by those that were in power. And so I'll use one thing that is one of the most disgusting ever is chitlins. This is the entrails of an animal, but that's what we were given to eat. We're talking about pig feet, pig ears, pig nose, tripe. These are the discard. I know a lot of Caribbean people. Oxtail. That is a discarded part of the animal. So these are the foods that have become our traditional and our soul foods.
Oxtails, chitlins, subpar foods. You spoke on high level. Something that came to mind is this conversation I was having with someone, and she talked about the importance of knowing where you came from and eating the foods of that region and how long you spend time in the sun.
Mhm.
What's your perspective on that atmosphere, on that environment, on that theory or thought process or belief that where you're from in that region, there's a way to kind of be able to truly thrive and choosing the right foods in the proper sunlight? Like, what's your intake on that? What's your insight?
So that's actually a two-part question, and they'll do the easiest part first, and that's sunlight.
Okay.
Depending on the level of melanin in your skin, is going to determine how much sun you need. The more melanin you have, the more sun you need. And I know it's crazy. The less melanin, the less sun, because more sun is actually going to hurt you if you have less melanin. Hence, that's why people who are have no melanin burn very quickly in the sun, and they need suntan and all these other things. But that's also going to be determined on where you're living in the country or the world. Because if you're closer to the equator, you're going to be getting a more intense sun. I'm down here in South Florida. It don't take much to be outside in the sun for it to feel like it's burning you. And I'm talking about I'm melanated. Like I ain't dark, but so that's the sun part of it. The food part, yes, it would be ideal for people to eat foods from the regions where they were originated. Unfortunately, most people don't know where they come from.
Mm.
A lot of us as melanated people forget that we are aboriginal to this country as well. And then you compound that with the fact that most of the food that we have here in America is industrialized. So you don't have the availability of some of those cultural or regional foods that would definitely feed the biostructure of the person better.
And I like that you said that, and that's something that I've thought about as well, and it was in conversation with others too. Is about the food, our food production, our food source, our food access here in the U.S. What are some countries or places that you feel like have a better source of food production, a better source of where people can go and actually heal just simply off the foods, the herbs, the access to the sunlight, the environment around them? What are some places you believe in the world that someone can get that healing from?
It's
What's your
always going to be your most tropical. It's always going to be your most tropical places. And mainly because those tropical places have good rain, they have good sun, they have good soil. So the fruits and foods that they produce are top tier. The problem that we have here in the States is that everything is industrially grown and the crop rotation is not used correctly. So we're growing foods in depleted soil, and the nutrients in the soil are in what end up in the fruits and vegetables. So that's why we have low quality food here. And when you go to countries like the Caribbean, South America, Thailand, places like that, you get a more vibrant food source.
how do you educate your clients and help them with choosing the right foods, knowing that we have challenges here with our food source in America? How do you give them that insight and that guidance?
It's super simple. Don't worry about the challenges because it's built into the system. If you take time, oh, should I eat only organic? Should I eat? It's going to take too much of your time, too much brain power, and you're just going to go to what's convenient. So I educate them on eating whole foods that come from plants. That way they focus on the most nutrient rich foods possible. while also avoiding as much processed foods as possible. Because that's really where a lot of the disease is coming from here in the States. It's not the fact that the food is not as nutrient as it used to be 100 years ago. It's the fact that there are foods on the shelves that did not exist 100 years ago.
And so you talk about the simple action steps that people can take to improve their health. What are those 3 straightforward actions anyone can take today to start their journey to a better health?
Absolutely. So there are 3 moves that anybody needs to make to improve their health. And that's because these are the 3 biggest levers that you could pull to make a change. And if you know anything about leverage in physics, the longer the lever, the the more weight you can pull with less strength. But anyway, so these are the long levers. The first one is pay attention to your food. Eat nutrient dense foods that are low calorie. And the most nutrient dense foods that are low calorie just happen to be whole foods that come from plants. And if you don't cook them, they're even better. The second thing, move your body every single day. You need exercise at least 3 times a week where you're actually getting your heart rate up and sweating. The third thing, and this is just as important as the other 2 combined, is eliminating and managing stress. Because chronic stress will take you out just as fast as a poor diet or a sedentary lifestyle.
Got you. So y'all, three straightforward, simple action steps that you can start today. 1, eat more whole foods that come from plants. Minimize any type of processed foods or anything like that. Just start eating whole foods. And 2, move your body every day. 3 times out the week, though. Get enough activity that you're sweating and your heart rate is up. You're getting that good cardiovascular health moving and grooving. And then 3, eliminate and manage stress. And I believe that one right there, coach, is sometimes the most hardest for people to, and that was even grammatically incorrect, most hardest, and I'm gonna just say it, part for people to handle. And they underestimate the power that stress has on their health status. And if you don't
Absolutely.
get anything else out of this conversation, managing and eliminating stress is one of the best things you can do to save your life, and to truly embrace healthy habit and lifestyle changes. And I know we're going to go into it because we both value mindset very much so. And with mindset comes thoughts, feelings, and belief. And it comes into self-care and what you believe you deserve in your environments. But that stress, the body keeps score. And when you take on stress, that stress has to have some type of effect in your life and possibly in your body wholeheartedly. And you can't see it. And so if you're not doing what you need to do to eliminate and manage stress, you are making yourself sick. You are choosing to consistently be in the pain and the state of health that you are in right now. You are making that choice. Nobody else is doing that. And so I'm glad that you broke those 3 down, coach, because definitely stress is a good one. And whole foods, like the power of foods as a whole, get it? Whole foods, the power of foods as a whole is just amazing. Like that whole foods is a game changer, and it does keep
Absolutely.
things simple. And I feel like a lot of times people are so caught up in the familiarity of what they're used to eating, what's convenient, what the vibe is, if it's Fish Friday and Soul Food Sunday,
Most people are caught up in whether or not it tastes good.
and
Most
you
people
see
eat for
it like,
taste.
and
Most people
the
eat for
part
taste and flavor.
it's horrible because you provide the seasonings that give it the flavor. So if you provide the seasonings that give your food the flavor, you can do that to your fruits, your vegetables, whatever whole foods you have. Because if you don't flavor your chicken, your ribs, your steak, what you gonna, you're not gonna like.
Ain't nobody out here eating bald head meat, as Chef Joya would call it.
No, not bald head meat, coach. Not bald head meat. But speaking of plant-based, like you've helped people reverse type 2 diabetes. You said diabetes runs in your family. High blood pressure runs in your family. But you also told me that you also gave guidance to people managing polycystic ovary syndrome, and trying to, lose unhealthy weight. I shouldn't say unhealthy weight. Lose weight.
No, you said it right. No,
And
no,
get
no,
to
you
a
said it right.
healthy weight.
It's unhealthy weight. No, lose that
Okay.
unhealthy weight. No, keep
So
it 100 with folks.
how has that plant-based living played a role in these transformations? And what are some of those common misconceptions that people have about starting a plant-based diet?
It plays the most crucial role. I had one client who refused to do any kind of working out, any kind of anything, but she still lost 100 pounds by just changing how she ate. Now, it took her a year to do it, but she lost 100 pounds just by changing what she ate. So
That's
eating is the most critical part because you can't outwork a bad diet. I don't care how much working
mm,
out you do, how much cardio, how much strength training. If your diet is poor, if what you're choosing to put through your mouth is not feeding your cells, it's defeating the entire point.
you can't outwork a bad diet. You
Nope.
can't
Just
outwork a
just
bad
just
diet.
just like you can't outsave a bad spending habits.
You can't outwork a bad habit.
You can't outwork a bad diet. Not at
Okay.
all. Now, the second question you asked was misconceptions that people have. The
Mm-hmm.
first three are all tied together. The first is that it's too hard. The second is that it's too expensive. And the third is I don't know what to eat. And that's what makes it too hard and too expensive because when you don't know what to eat, you go to restaurants or you buy processed food, and processed vegan food is expensive. And eating out at vegan restaurants is even more expensive. So yeah, now it seems hard and expensive, and now I can't do it. Or you take the other route, and all you're doing is eating salads, and now you're like, oh, I got headaches, I'm hungry all the time, I'm tired. This vegan thing ain't for me. Versus focusing on eating and first off, preparing your foods at home by batch cooking, meal prepping, knowing what you're going to eat for the week, cooking 3-4 meals at a time, or cooking foods that at least allow you to create variations of 3 to 4 meals. That's why I love quinoa, roasted vegetables, and any kind of legume because now you can create bowls. All you need is a different sauce, and now you got a different flavor. And then here's the extra hack: do 3 different vegetables, season each one a different way. But we ain't gonna get too much into the simples. We ain't gonna give too much game on the simple
But
stuff.
I
But
think I think it should be that simple for a coach because that's the part about it. They always complicate everything, and it's really not that complicated.
yeah,
When you're eating certain things, you're going with different sauces because different sauces give you a different vibe. So if you can season it a different way, your vegetables, your bowls, your plates, your salads, even your salad doesn't even have to be the same kind of salad.
you
Like that
could
change.
spend 30 minutes cooking on a Sunday and have food for 4 days. Now, here's the other thing: they say it's expensive, right? Some people won't agree with me, but one pack of tofu right now costs about $3. You can slice that into fours and have 4 different meals, right? I was at Publix the other day and they have this ready-made bag of vegetables. It was Brussels sprouts, carrots, peppers, potatoes, and a couple other things. Not in the frozen section, but in the prepared section, like the prepared fruit. $6. So for $9, I created a tofu tray where it was roasted tofu, roasted vegetables for $9. I was able to eat off of that for twice, for 2 times if we're gonna use proper English. So here I just created a meal full of all of the nutrients, macro and micronutrients that I need for $4.50. What fast food restaurant can you go to? Even eating off the dollar menu, get full and nutritious food for $4.50.
I like that you broke that down that way and you made it simple. And even if you say, "Oh, I don't eat tofu, you still can substitute that tofu $3 with something else that you would still pretty much enjoy that will give you some full. Go ahead, coach.
We gonna make it even more simple. You don't like tofu? A 1 pound bag of lentils costs you about $1.50. So now it's even cheaper.
And there you have it. And I think that's the thing about it. They definitely complicate things. They definitely say things. It's just because you see, and I'm not going to blame social media, because social media has definitely inspired so many people to embrace it because they see the variety of food experiences that you can get. But you don't have to go out here looking at the plant-based influencers and create these full course meals or these extravagant alternative meals to what you're used to that's going to cost so much for you. If you really want to be successful and your why is big enough with eating more whole foods and changing your diet. I don't really like saying diet, but we can say it. Changing your
Way of
diet,
eating.
changing your life, changing your way of eating, then you're going to be okay with getting those roasted vegetables because you're seasoning, you're marinating those roasted vegetables. You're going to make the flavors come because you're not going to just eat something that's bland. So when you're preparing it, you're in control of this thing. And when you're in control, you should be empowered to create that plate that you know is going to help you live more and give you more of a health span than just a lifespan. And it's going to allow you to reverse those symptoms, allow you to turn in a different direction of chronic conditions and chronic symptoms and chronic disease. And I feel like that's what it boils down to, coach, is having a big enough why that matters to you. And that goes into mindset. So mindset within your 12-week program is almost 6 weeks, almost 50% of what it is that you do. For my program, my healing, my journey, mindset is the first pillar we get on. We hit on mindset at the beginning, and it's so many different activities to take you through that. And it's the different activities that you're going through to really navigate and explore and get to know you. Because if you don't know you, you're not going to be able to make the changes. If you don't know you, you're not going to be aware enough to say, this is what's not good. This is what is happening. How do I get to a different state of mind, a state of living, a state of being that I know I deserve? So, coach, how does cultivating the right mindset contribute to lasting health changes? And what strategies do you teach your clients to help them stay motivated?
So mindset plays the biggest strategy because in order to make any change last long time, there has to be some shifts in the way you're thinking. And I'm going to
Mhm.
use thinking more than mindset because mindset can be kind of abstract for people.
Okay.
However, you have to shift how you think. And let's use why you're eating in the first place as an example. Most people eat because they feel hungry, they're bored, or they have a taste for something. One of the key shifts that I help clients make is those are never the reason to eat. When you
Mm,
get that feeling of hunger, it's not because your stomach's empty. It's because the cells in your body are looking for nutrients that aren't in your bloodstream. So now when you go to eat, you have a different frame because you're not eating because you're hungry. You're eating because your cells needs nutrients. So if your cells need nutrients, what do you need to eat? Pillar number one, nutrient rich foods. So just by changing the shift of why you're eating, or even what triggered you to be hungry in the first place, now if you're making all of your decisions off of, oh, it's because my cells need nutrients, now you're not going to grab a Twinkie. You're not going to grab some Takis because you know there's no nutrients in it, although it may be convenient. So that's one mindset shift. One of the biggest, and this is one that I really have to work with some people with, is even believing that they deserve to be healthier or to lose the weight because they've tried before and didn't succeed. Or they had some progress and then they backslid. So now they're being super hard on themselves. They're not giving themselves the compassion to be human because that's really what it is. All mistakes are human. And so giving them the permission to be okay with where they are, even though they have work to get to where they want to be.
I love it. So those are the two things. One, you're not eating because you're hungry or because you're craving something or because you need food to survive. You're eating because you need to nourish your cells. You need the nutrients and the biological function of your body to survive. But not only to survive, but you want to be able to thrive. And so I like that. One is you're not eating because you're craving and you just want something to eat. And it's that time of day or it's that holiday and we just all need to eat. And then two, it's giving yourself permission to know that you deserve to eat the things that you're eating and to live the life that you know you deserve to live. And that comes with changing some things, changing some habits, and embracing a certain lifestyle. Go ahead, coach.
And there's one more piece because I know that you have a large female audience and a lot of my clients are female. And this is something that I have to get through them as well. And I'll lean in a little bit closer so I can look in your natural eyeballs. At some point, ladies, you're going to have to put yourself first. You're prioritizing work, family, social obligations, and everything else. And your health is suffering because of it. Because the other thing that people say is, I don't have time, I'm too busy. You can either create time to be well, or your health is going to create time for you to be sick.
Mm. Create time to be well, or life will create time for you to be sick. That, whoo, coach, that was a little thick right there. And you was all up in the camera for that one. I like it though. You can create time to be well, or life will create time for you to be sick. That right there is powerful. I think that right there. So if you are not subscribed to the Four Vibrations YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe now. Like this video and share this. If you've gotten anything from this conversation thus far, please make sure you share this podcast episode with someone that you love and someone that you know deserves that deserves to hear that they have the permission to go out there and start making the changes that they need to make to live. So life doesn't make the decision for them to not live the way they would want to and be sick. So y'all, coach, for me, with mindset is a big thing. And I know it's hard for people. What are some of the steps that you take with your clients to kind of help them get to the point to where you say, I know it's hard, give yourself grace, but I'm going to hold you accountable for this? How do you hold them accountable for this new mindset they're just now getting working with you, so then that way you can take them the rest of the way through the program?
Questions. Questions is how I hold people accountable. I start my consultations off with asking what's important to them and why it's important to them. And then I go deeper. Why is it important that that's important? So now when I see you not doing what you committed yourself to doing, I can ask you very simply, how is what you're doing going to help you achieve what's important to you? Because I don't believe in telling people what to do. I believe in helping them co-create what they need to do for themselves. Because if they tell them what they need to do, it's very easy to get it done. But if I tell you what you need to do, it's real easy to just brush me off, say, listen to me, but yeah, disregard. That's the word I'm looking for.
I got you. And I feel you on that. Because I did have a coaching client one time, like towards the end of reflecting, and she was like, well, I thought getting in the program, you were going to tell me, you're going to tell me everything that I needed to eat. And I said, no. I said, meal planning support. I want to help support you creating the meals that you have. Because if you're dependent on me telling you what to eat every single day, when you're not with me, you're not going to be able to figure out what it is that you need to eat. So I like to start off with, what do you even have in your house that you can eat, that's, more whole foods, things that you should be eating more of. And then what do you even have a taste for? What's the vibe? What's your energy? What's your mood? And so if I'm telling you to go buy all these different things that I think you should eat versus what you want to eat and what you already enjoy, there's already friction and tension. That's not going to help
Yeah.
you live the way you really want to live and allow you to adopt it. You're just adopting my lifestyle. I'm here to support and empower you on the journey and give you the insight and the education and experience that I have to help you navigate through your own journey, not for me just to tell you everything. And so I like that you said that, because questions is definitely how you hold someone accountable, because they came to you with questions because they were curious about the change and the transformation that they wanted to have. And there had to be some form of consultation. You committed when you made that financial transaction and said, I'm all in. Now, what is it that you're not in? What's lacking your commitment? Are you doing the things that you say you want to do to be able to have the things you said that you deserve to have? And so I like that your accountability approach is through questions, Coach. I really love that. And so we talked about mindful, well, I call it mindful eating. We talked about plant-based eating, eating more whole foods, eating to live, and we talked about mindset. Now let's get into movement. Another one of your core pillars. You're into fitness. I've seen you on your lives, doing your exercise. How do you approach fitness with your clients, like especially those who may be a little hesitant or have physical limitations, for them to see results through fitness?
Super simple. And I know I use that word a lot because it's a staple of my core beliefs is keep it simple so people actually will do it.
Mm.
So the simplest thing that a person can do is to use the equipment that God gave them. You don't need a gym. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. God gave you everything you need. And if you have extra weight, even the better, because now you're moving more weight. So, body weight at home body weight workouts are my go to. And I like those for two reasons. One, they're practical, you can do them anywhere. So, I guess that's two reasons. And the other is that it's very easy to do regressions or progressions. If you don't know about fitness, you don't know what I'm talking about. A regression is an easier version of an exercise, and a progression is a harder version of an exercise. So I have some clients who are not strong enough to do push ups, they're not strong enough to do knee push ups. So I do a regression all the way back to wall push ups, where you're standing up and you're pushing yourself away from the wall. And progressively throughout the rest of the phases of the workout, you'll be going more and more towards the ground where you're getting more and more of your body weight involved. So that's one example.
I like it. So regression into progression. So you start with where they are, start with what they can utilize, and then you say you don't need any equipment but your body. And we're going to figure out how to honor that body, how to move that body so that body heals and you become one with it. I like it. I do.
Yep.
I really like it. And I love that if it's a part of your core beliefs to keep it simple so anyone knows that they can do it, that's a good vibe to have. Because if you overcomplicate something and you put it out there as if this is this big transformation and they got to do all these changes, it's people are not going to go for it because they're not going to believe that they can do it. And then that you have to get that challenging person. Go ahead, Coach.
No. So that's part of the reason why I created that way is because I don't want to teach you how to do something that you're going to be able to do for this short amount of time. I don't teach people how to diet because diets end. I teach people how to change their lifestyle habits so they never have to diet again. And so moving and changing your thoughts around movement and what it consists of is going to make you want to do it, because some people hate the gym. Some people don't like the way it makes them feel. There are other people that are more fit, so now that brings in self-judgment and negative self-talk. We don't need it.
It's not necessary. And when you're really trying to build up the confidence and you're really trying to tell people that they're worth this journey, you don't want distractions and other factors that play a role in pushing people back when they're trying to find their way forward. And so I wholeheartedly agree with that. Is meeting the client, that person, where they are in their journey, and allowing them to tell you where they feel comfortable moving towards, because they're not going to be comfortable in the journey itself, but at least, hey, I'm comfortable staying at home and moving. Hey, I am
Yep.
comfortable going to the gym. The gym makes me, it's an environment that makes me feel empowered. What can I be doing in the gym, coach? How do I stay structured in the gym to stay focused on what it is that I told you I want? And so I like that you allow them that autonomy, to let you know where it is, but it's as simple as you got everything you need right now to get started and be successful. And I'm also with you. I am not one with the quick fix. And so when I typically hear the word diet, people always think that they're going to be doing something for a certain period of time to see a certain result, and then that's it. And so I love that we both have that same philosophy, that I call it my healing, my journey. A journey doesn't end. A journey continues to go, and it has different phases to
Mm-hmm.
it. And so you're going to be making these different shifts as you continue to heal. Healing is a process. You're not just healed and that's it. You're consistently making sure that you're navigating through this process of being well and at your optimum health and well-being every single day. And so I like that you have that approach, because I think it's vital and it's necessary to meet people where they are and to let them know you deserve this, even when I'm not with you or behind you or beside you or holding your hand, which is why we make sure we create a sense of independency and their own thought process behind what it is that they're doing. So you can't just say, I'm just doing what my coach tell me to do. I'm doing this because my
Yep.
coach is making me do it. No, you're doing this because this is what you want to do, and you understand the why behind what it is that you're doing. And that gets back to like the root cause. So coach, you were talking about the importance of understanding the root cause of disease in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my target audience, those with endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, adenomyosis, fibroids, what do you believe is the root cause, and how does addressing it through diet and lifestyle help lead to better outcomes?
It's not a root cause. There's root causes. There's
Okay.
three: poor food, or should say poor diet, poor food choices, better way of saying it, sedentary lifestyle, or for those who don't know sedentary, lack of movement daily, poor stress management. My message is super simple, and that's why I made those the three core pillars, because when you fix those three, everything else moves. Even let's talk about fibroids for a second, because I know that that's super specific. Fibroids oftentimes is due to exposure to certain toxins, and the toxins that you're giving yourself through poor stress management. And not just stress management, because I use stress as a way to encompass trauma and all of those, because any kind of pressure on the body creates stress.
But mostly what you're talking about is distress anyway, because there could be
Correct.
bad stress and good stress. And we're not talking about motivation and encouragement, those you
We're
stressors.
not talking.
We're
We're
talking,
not talking about working out. Like, working out is stress on the body. We're not talking about working out here, folks.
yeah, you were talking about stuff that are just unsettling and unprocessed and causing a strain, that typically could lead into anxiety, depression, feeling overwhelmed. So things that lead to a poor health status or a poor state of mind, even, let alone not just in your body. But if you are just getting here and you fast forward, skipped, or you watching the live and tuned in, Coach already said the first three things were to eat more whole foods, move your body, and eliminate stress. So what he just told you is the root causes for most chronic conditions and disease is the fact that you're having poor food choices, or a lack of nutritious food, because sometimes people can be in a food desert and they only can get access to
Right.
what it is that they have. So we're not knocking you for that if that's all you have. Not moving your body consistently, regularly, and being able to honor the fact that you have a body that can move. And then we're talking about the lack of allowing stress to overtake you and you do nothing about it. You do nothing to minimize and eliminate it once you're aware that it even exists. And so that's what Coach is saying is what he believes those three root causes are. And I totally agree with you, Coach. And I like that you simplified it because you can always go deeper. We can always go deeper with the food and say you're eating processed foods, you're eating the dairy, you're eating the hormone rich meats, you're eating, you can always go that deep. But when you do that, sometimes it turns people off and they're not ready to hear all of those different things. And so I like that you keep it simple. It's the food choices. Eat more whole foods. Move your body. Whatever way you want to move your body, just start moving your body regularly every single day. And then you'll start finding more ways that your body is saying, hey, I want to do this. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stretch because I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling sore. So I like that you said that. And then stress. Once that stress comes up and you be able to say, hey, I don't deserve this. I don't want to own it. I don't want to hold on to it. This ain't even for me. I'm starting to get sick. I can feel the nerves in my body. Nah. Would you say at the beginning, Coach? I am finding my way to balance through the things called life. And it's finding that good balance. And it's flowing with life, but getting that right type of balance that you operate within your control, the things that you can control. And it also kind of goes back to the 4 agreements a little bit more. So I love that book wholeheartedly, but it's really being mindful of you. And when you get to a state where you're not allowing anything to shake you and you are mindful of you, that changes your whole life. I won't say the game because your life isn't a game and nothing to play with. It changes your life when you're able to be more mindful of you. And that's how me and Coach got even on the journey of even being on a plant-based lifestyle. It changed for us because what our knowledge about ourselves, what we felt in our body, the benefits and the results said, all gas, no brakes. I'm not turning back. I don't need to look back at some of these other things that I used to eat and the places that I used to be and the things that I used to handle when it came to environments. And that's what we want you to know. We want you to know that you just take things one step at a time, but you deserve it. You deserve to keep pushing and getting through. So, Coach, health is a lifelong journey. Yeah. Nothing that's a quick fix. How do you help your clients develop sustainable practices that they can maintain long term, even after they've committed the program? Because I know you're going to say it's something simple.
Go back and review what you did. So when you're going through my coaching program, I teach you how to fish. Even though I give you a complete meal plan telling you exactly what to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, through that, I'm showing you the components of what a healthy breakfast looks like. What does a healthy lunch look like? What does a healthy dinner look like? What does healthy snacks look like? So now once you've done 12 weeks with me, if someone offers you pancakes and sausage for breakfast, cooked food don't come across your plate till afternoon. So maybe brunch and then take the bacon off and yeah, what those pancakes made out of? So it's just really finding those ways to incorporate it into your lifestyle, and the way that I built it into the system, it's designed that way. During the consultation, we break down your entire day to find out where you have a half hour that you can commit to your workouts. So now
I
if we
love
just did that early on, and because we went through that process, even if your life and your schedule changes, okay, boom, these are the major things in my life. Let me time block this. Let me time block that. Okay, here's my half hour to work out.
Do you walk your clients through time blocking and organizing their schedule? Is that towards the
Yep.
beginning of the program, towards the
Yes.
middle?
So that is done on our very first consultation call. So there is a strategy call to figure out whether I'm sorry. There's a discovery call to figure out whether or not the program works for you. And then there are 4 strategy calls. The first strategy call needs to be booked within your first week of being in the coaching program, because during that time is when we break down and I literally say, what is the number one thing that you need to work on for these next 4 weeks? What's blocking you from getting there? What actions are you willing to take to get a different result? Okay, this is your week. This is your time. What time do you need to be at work? What time do you need to, and then we break it down. Okay, so this needs to be blocked here. This needs to be blocked here. Find the time in your schedule to block them. That way, I'm giving them the tools, but standing over their shoulder while they're using them. I kind of think of my middle school shop teacher who would put us on the bandsaw, give us everything, but then stand right there next to us while we run our fingers up to that running blade.
I like it because you're facilitating the transformation. You're just facilitating and letting them do it, not telling them, I wrote out your whole schedule. This is everything you need to do. Just run the play. I like that. I like it a lot, Coach. And something that came to mind when you talked about those 4 calls within the first week is that's a real individualized, personalized approach to them being the center of it all. And it's all about you. And so showing up to those calls, being aware, being honest. That's a big thing too, Coach. Being honest about where you are in life and what you really want to change. That is going to help you really take the transformation to a whole nother level, to the point where you might not ever look back. And that's because you're showing up for you and you've had the conversations, you're aware, you're surrendering to it, and now you're given the tools. That was a key word you said, Coach. The tools in order for you to be successful throughout the program. So you're able to own the journey. You're able to own the transformation and to keep it going. And so I really like that. So thinking about being able to empower other people. You got clients. How do we now empower the next generation? So you're passionate about breaking the cycle of passing down unhealthy habits to the next generation. What steps can parents and families take to ensure that they're fostering healthy lifestyle habits and changes in their children?
I'm gonna come in close again because this is really what matters to me. So I'm gonna look you right here in your eyeball. Children follow examples. They don't listen to your words. They watch what you do. The only way to improve the next generation's health is to improve your own and exhibit the habits that you want them to use. Don't get no more simple than that.
And while you're right here up close to the camera and looking straight in their eyes, before you go back, speak to the people who said, well, I can start eating this way, but when I was a child, I got to eat whatever I wanted to eat. I don't want to rob them of that experience, their childhood. Talk to them, Coach.
Get this out the way so I don't knock it over, because she didn't ask me a powerful question. You are what you eat in every sense of the word, because what you eat breaks down into nutrients. Those nutrients are what are the building blocks of the cells. The cells are what make up your skin, your bones, your muscle, your hair. And I said hair properly just so you understood me. So, knowing that line of reasoning, when you give your children subpar food that doesn't have very many nutrients, you're stunting their growth physically and mentally. That simple.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. Last 2 questions. I want you to talk to the girl dads, the male role models, the father figures, and even spouses, partners, to those who might have polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, or have those types of symptoms and not the diagnosis, even young kids, period pain. Give some tips, some strategies on how they could support and be more a part of the conversation of knowing what's really going on to help with healing.
Join the conversation. Sit down at the table. Watch the documentaries. Do a Google search on books that would give you the information. Dr. Layla Africa is a good starting point, especially for people that are melanated. That's where I would start is educating yourself so that you know, because everything that you and I both know, we didn't learn at school. We
Correct.
did at school, we're not taught the three most important things that we need to survive as adults: how to eat and take care of our health, how to manage and make more money, and how to manage and deal with our own mind and relationships with others. Those are the three most important skills any adult could need. And out of the 12 years in school, I don't remember any lessons on those. Maybe a little bit of the financial part, but that's when they taught you how to balance a checkbook and all of that funny stuff. But other than that, that was a quick conversation. They didn't tell you the importance of credit. They just say don't mess it up. Why? Why not? Why not? So it's the same thing when it comes to food. And because we live in the Western society, we don't live in a culture that values prevention. We value cures. So they're not going to teach you how to not be healthy. We're not going to teach you how to be healthy because they want you in the system so that they can make money off of your illnesses. That's why we're here where we are. But that would get me going on another 15-minute rant.
And we won't go there. So what we will say is, you said be a part of the conversation. Painful periods, um, hormonal imbalances, not no mood swings. Sit at the table, educate yourself, read books about it, ask questions, so that way you know what role you can play and able to help. And I like that, because a lot of times people will say, oh, well, that's a woman's health thing. I can't relate to that. I don't know anything about it. When you clearly see someone that you love not be in the best state of health and are experiencing issues. And I think that is a big piece of what it is that people can do. Spouses, girl dads, father
Absolutely.
figures, role models can play a part in. So I
And
love
I
that.
was just going to say with that is, as men, it's not an excuse that we're not a woman to learn about the woman's body and the things that they go through. Because 10 to 1, you have a daughter, you have a wife, girlfriend, sisters, nieces, somebody that you could impart that information to if you knew, even just that point them in the right direction because you overheard the conversation they were having.
I love it. Thank you. Last question. If you could have a meal with any historical figure, who would it be and what would y'all eat?
Any historical figure. Wow. I'd probably say Marcus Garvey, and it would be the biggest vegan meal I could think with all of the tropical fruits to start off with. Because I had sapodilla and mamey for the first time a couple weeks back,
Okay.
and I'm oh
Was it
yeah.
life
So
changing?
I would definitely say I need to find those fruits on a regular basis.
Okay. Okay. So the biggest tropical fruit fest you would have, sitting down with Marcus Garvey.
Hmm.
Why Marcus?
Why Marcus? Because he led one of the biggest organizations that brought the people from the African diaspora together ever. And so the knowledge that he had to be impactful enough to get enough people to move and take action.
I like it. Coach, give some empowering words to our listeners to conclude this conversation.
You are enough. You deserve good health. Please be compassionate with yourself on the journey because you got this.
I love it. You got this, y'all. You got this, y'all. Coach Robert Moore. All of his information will be in the description of this podcast episode. Also, underneath in the description is the M to the third degree healing empowerment guide, y'all. That M to the third degree healing empowerment guide is all about mindset, mindful eating, and movement throughout the different phases of your cycle. And so it is very, very intentional. When I created it, it comes with videos as well to break down those segments and those sections, as well as herbal teas that you can consider consuming during the different phases of your cycle. So it's pretty much a whole month of you being mindful and intentional about what it is that you could be doing to help your body heal. So check out the links in the description of this video. Go check out Coach Robert Moore and all he has to offer. Y'all, thank you for tuning in to another Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you rate this if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast distribution platform, and hit the follow. And then also go listen to another episode. But make sure you tell us what you got out of this conversation. Leave that in the comments. Let us know what you got out of this conversation and from our journey. And your journey doesn't have to look like ours, but we want you to be intentional about your journey, because you heard Coach say, you got this. We love y'all. We thank y'all. Most importantly, thanks for vibing with us, y'all.